Okay, it is recording.
Okay.
More live on Facebook. Should be coming up. Share. Share in group. Group name. Coaches host engaging, profitable virtual summits. Zoom is preparing live stream preview.
Nice.
Okay. Go live. Sweet. Okay. It is doing the little progressive bar and it should be live soon.
Awesome. I like how this new update tells me things. Like it tells me it's streaming live. It's great.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, we are live for real now. So, talk virtual viewers. We are here with Casey. Casey, are those just initials or do they stand for anything or?
They're initials, but they're what I go by. So
Okay.
I don't go by Karen Cynthia. That does not feel like me. So I'm just Casey.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you have hosted 2 virtual summits so far. Can you tell us about your adventures in hosting virtual summits?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely a learning curve. So I decided that I was going to do the first one. This was 2 years ago. And I called it a virtual retreat, but it really was a summit. It's just I don't know, the messaging of it. And I decided I was going to host this virtual retreat and I committed myself to it and I had no idea where I was going to host it, how I was going to do it. I didn't know that like a platform like Hey Summit existed. So I was thinking I'll do it on Teachable and it'll be so much work because I'll have to like post this talk and then take it down and then post, it was just like, it's going to be just a lot of stress, a lot of work, a lot of space for me to mess things up. And then I kind of looked into finding Hey Summit, which is a great platform for that. And yeah, then I enjoyed that experience a lot. So I did the same thing again the following year, the same style of virtual retreat. It was for people in intercultural relationships or living abroad. So I kind of had speakers from a lot of different areas. So we would choose, here's our categories and you can choose like what your focus is, and then people can choose what they want to attend. And I learned a lot from the experience, definitely. One thing that was really important was as soon as it ended the first year, I went and wrote down notes about what I would do differently the next year, because knowing that it was going to be a full year before I did it again, I thought, if I don't write this down now, I'm going to come back in a year and be like,
what happened?
Yeah, I think it was all fine, and I just make the same mistakes again, So I was like, we're not doing this. We're definitely doing this, and it helped. Definitely made a difference for the next year, and yeah.
So, what, in your opinion, what's the difference in a virtual retreat and a virtual summit?
It really was. That was just about the people that I was aiming it towards, right? Since I'm not necessarily aiming towards business owners, I'm aiming towards people focusing on relationships. I thought if I call it a summit, they're going to think, well, I'm not a business owner. I'm not, like I don't want to go to a marketing summit, whatever the connotations they have attached to that word. So I thought, well, you go to a couples retreat, right? You go to something that's about nurturing your relationship. So this is like that, but it's virtual. So it's a virtual retreat. When I do it again now, I'm not sure what I'll call it, since I've pivoted out of that niche and I'm doing more transformation life coaching now. I think I might actually call it a summit now. But yeah, that was helpful messaging, I think.
Do you think you might ask your audience what would sound better between retreat and summit?
Yeah,
or have you done that?
I did not the first time around. I just was brainstorming what sounded the best to me. I think this time around, since I would be renaming it all, not even, the name of the summit would be the same. I would ask people what would you want to attend? Would it be this? Yeah.
Do you ever ask your audience what kind of material they would want in your summit?
I haven't. I mean, since I'm thinking about doing it now, it's like this is like a brand new thought. You're inspiring me today. Like, oh, I actually can still do this. I don't have to let that go, let it die with the old niche. I now in this new space that is much more aligned and feels a lot better to me, I actually could still do this. So it's not on the immediate horizon. It's not something I'll do the winter, certainly, but maybe in the summer or the
Okay.
fall. Yeah.
You think it makes a difference what season you pick?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, the first time around, I had overlaps with some of the speakers that who I really wanted, and they really wanted to speak as well. I think it was spring break or something with their kids' school schedules the first time around. And so I was like, okay, I need to be more aware of that, because if all of the people who are like moms in my speaker list are going to say like, oh, we got spring break, there's too much going on, can't do that. So I changed it from one year to the next. The second year I did it in February. Okay. Which worked out well for 2020 because the whole world fell apart in March. So it's like, I'm glad we got that done before, I don't know, everything went a little bananas.
Yeah. Speaker calendars. I like to have, like, it's 2021 now. I would like to have a 2022 calendar so I can coordinate speakers' calendars with mine, and I can already have them set up so I can have their time and attention.
Yeah.
It's like having next year's calendar is like a little peep in the future for me.
Yeah, I like that. That's one thing I made a note of to talk about today, is like giving yourself more time and not trying to do something too like down to the wire, because yeah, we might think like, well, I can put my stuff together in a month. Yeah, you can, but can you coordinate a bunch of other people as well? Because their world doesn't revolve around you. They've got their own stuff going on as well. So that's a way to be generous.
That's sometimes sad. It's like, how come you're not paying attention to me?
I know. Like, what, excuse me, where are my little, people orbiting around me because I'm the center of the universe? But no, it doesn't work that way. So
yeah. So when you ran your first summit, did you already have an audience, or did you pick them up with your speakers? How did you get your audience to attend?
They came largely with the speakers that first time around. And I had done something that first year. I've kind of not had great success so far with offering free versus paid plans for the summit. So I've kind of tried a different approach each year, and always making it so that the speakers can be affiliates if they want to be. And I mean, that's helpful in some aspects, but even just it's for the niche that I was working in, it was such a small niche. And the people who I targeted were people like the speakers were people who were very well respected. And so as soon as they share that, hey, I'm doing this thing, then people are like, whoa, hey, I've never heard of something like this. I didn't know that there was such a thing as like an intercultural relationship virtual retreat. That's a mouthful, but so yeah, people were eager to follow their preferred, authors and speakers, people that they admired. So that was really helpful.
How'd you get your speakers to promote or cross-pollinate?
I try to make it as easy as possible for them with, creating my own graphics and messaging that they could use. That was helpful. I think in general, when we say, hey, yeah, go ahead and promote it, when you add one more thing to their to-do list, you're like, oh, how should I talk about this? And if you're not careful, everyone's sharing a different message, and they're starting to say things about the summit that you're like, well, that's not actually accurate. And now I'm going to have all these like disappointed people coming here being like, what? This isn't what I signed up for. So, here's some like a skeleton that we'll work with for what we'll talk about. And in general, keeping my communication uniform with all the speakers was really, really important, because I didn't want to be like, well, what have I told this person? What, so whenever I kept a spreadsheet. I don't know, that's how my mind works. I kept a spreadsheet of like,
I was
here's all
just
the
about to ask you, how'd
speakers.
you do that?
Like here's who has committed, here's who has sent me their video, here who's done all these things. And then when I sent the first email to ask people to speak, I saved it in my drafts folder in Gmail. I was like, all right, we're going to send this exact same email to every person who we asked to speak. Great. Okay. And now when the first person accepts, I write the email to that person, save the draft of it. Okay, this is the next email that we send, because I didn't want to, offer someone an opportunity to be an affiliate and then assume that I had offered it to somebody else, and then they're, coming back and saying, oh, well, why did, they get it and I didn't? And so, yeah, as much as possible, keeping everything uniform in that way was it was really helpful. I mean, I think it's why, like, I sort of crashed a little bit when it was over. I was like, oh, that was so much work, because I was like juggling so many different people and all their different details and stuff. But it was worth it for having happy speakers, and yeah, and knowing that they all know the same thing as each other, which is just so important.
Yeah. So Google Doc, they're all in folders. Do you number your sequence and then copy paste into an email?
Yeah, basically, I was leaving them actually in my Gmail drafts folder. So I would just save that email there and just say like a blank space for their like name. And then I just copy that and be like, all right, now I'm writing this to this person. And occasionally I would send them, if I had a bunch of speakers accept, I would send an email like to a number of them and BCC all of them, so that they're all getting the same thing. And I was always open about that. I'd always say, all right, I'm BCCing a bunch of you. I don't want you to think that like, if there's something here that you already know, it's because I'm sending this to a group of you, and I'm not sending it with your email addresses out in the open, because I don't want to give your contact information away if you don't want it given away. So
Yeah.
be careful with all that.
They'll all yell out, GDPR, like, you're American.
Exactly.
It still counts.
Exactly.
So do you ask your speakers to be affiliates? Did you offer them a chance to become sponsors?
I did not the first time around. And I didn't. So the second time around, I pitched sponsorship to some companies that I would have wanted to work with. I didn't think about asking speakers to do that. I'm curious if that's something that you've done. I haven't quite figured out how I would want to use this sponsor option on there.
Okay. So no, I haven't done that yet either, but I'm hearing a lot about it. Some hosts will give the speakers a bigger opportunity besides just an opt-in page to get emails. Some will put up their logos on their backgrounds, like I have this here. Some will have email to their list about more about that speaker, what that speaker offers. Besides, was like, if you opt into this speaker, you'll get this, and this, and that.
Yeah, that's interesting thought.
Oh, and some hosts also just ask their speakers to pay to speak. I know you're a fan of Hey Summit. I love Hey Summit. I don't know if you've got to talk to Rob, the CEO of Hey Summit, but he says, don't expect your speakers to speak. You can ask them, you can offer them things. If they agree, ask them what are they doing. You can give them stuff, but you can't always count on them. But I like that you got your speakers to do it. And I want to know if you did anything else besides ask them to speak.
Not really. So one thing was the timeline. I guess this is my experience because I have like 10 years of classroom experience as a teacher. So I know very well that when you give somebody a deadline, they will wait until that day to do it. I have assigned too many essays, and the day that they're due, I had students saying, oh, can I bring it tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. This grade right here is named after you, just so you know. So I was like, we're not going to go down that same road. So I set that my schedule of kind of like, I need everything in the first summit. Everything was pre-recorded. The second one, we did have some live ones, but the first one was all pre-recorded. And so it was like, okay, I want everything in by this date, which was like a nice cushion, like at least a week before it was all going live. And so then when people would come back with their extenuating circumstances and say like, I really can't get it in, I'm having this crisis or whatever it is. And I was like, that's totally fine. Yeah, we can wait until 2 or 3 days later. That's totally fine. So that way it wasn't like I'm managing, all 25 speakers or whatever and saying like, oh my gosh, I don't have any of these things. It's going to take a while to upload them. And all this stuff is out of my control. That was helpful, definitely. And not many people, dropped out of speaking or anything like that. There's always situations that happen where,
Yeah.
we commit to something and then we get nervous about it. We're like, well, who am I to be doing that? And so we just sort of disappear. But no, it worked out quite well. And most of the videos the first time around, I gave them the option, either you can record this on your own and just send it to me, or we can get on a Zoom call and I can interview you about the topic of your choice. And so I did a number of them that way. So I already had those videos and I could just go ahead and upload them. But yeah, it worked out quite nicely that first time, for sure.
Did you have a set number of speakers that you wanted?
I can't remember. I think I wanted about 20, and I probably asked maybe 30 people and then ended up getting, more than my goal of speakers. So yeah, a lot of people were really happy to jump on the opportunity. Again, I think it's partly because it was such a specific niche and nobody else had done anything like that. So they weren't like, oh, I'm just getting bombarded with opportunities like this. How do I choose which one to do? It was like, oh, wow, yeah, I've never heard of this. Let's do it. So it might be different now if I did something more, life coaching focused, because there's certainly more content out there in that space. But
yeah.
Yeah.
What was the biggest lesson you learned from hosting your first one that you applied to your second one?
It was probably the communication, like the clear and consistent communication with the speakers. I was sort of figuring that out as I went along, and creating the template and saving the template. And then what I realized for the second time around was like, I need to have a way to capture all this information that I want right at the beginning. So when someone agrees to speak, all right, great. Here's a Google form for you to fill out where you're going to tell me like the name of your talk, the category it's going to be, submit a headshot, like do all this stuff, because I don't want to be knocking on your door, every 3 days, being like, where's your headshot? Do you have it yet? Excuse me. Do you have a headshot? Is there a picture of your head anywhere? I don't want to do that. So getting that information that I needed from them up front, it just really made it a lot more streamlined.
It's good. I never asked them for that stuff. I told them, I know you have a LinkedIn page because that's where I found you. I'm going to take some of that information from your LinkedIn page, maybe your website, and I'm going to put it in this document and I'm going to send it to you. And if you like it, hooray. If you don't like it, you have permission to change it to whatever you want to change it. But if you do not finish it before this date, this is what we're rolling with.
I like that too, because I think the second time I had something a little more of like, here's the page to edit. If you don't want to edit it, that's fine, but it's just going to be pretty much blank. But yeah, I like that where you're giving, here's the skeleton framework, and you can add, subtract, multiply, divide, do whatever you want to do on this page. Yeah.
So you've given me some ideas about the communication with your speakers, and I'm thinking along with that Google Doc, I could have maybe a Facebook group just for my speakers. I can have all my information in the units for those speakers, and I can say, hooray for Casey for giving me her headshot, and I don't have to take the one that she used on LinkedIn or whatever.
Yes.
No, I did that to you. I didn't ask you for a headshot, so I'm sorry if you didn't want to use that picture.
It's okay. I like that picture. So.
Good. I like that picture too.
Yeah, I think that's great, because then you have that there's a community aspect to it, and then yeah, I think that's really nice. We had sort of after the fact, some of the speakers, we created a little group to support each other, kind of mastermind, but I like that. And then there's even more benefit for them to speak, because then they're kind of connecting with other speakers in that group as well.
Yeah. Like in my head, I want to be a linchpin and bring people together.
Yeah.
I hope it works out like that, because that's
Yeah.
why I'm doing this. You're a coach. You're talking to other coaches right now, talking about how you put your summit together. Hopefully they'll learn from you. Hopefully they'll reach out to you and it's like, hey, Casey, can we work together on something?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, I definitely see that connector role in what you're doing. And I think it's so important. We need people to do that, to make the introductions, and to say like, oh, I know this person has this skill and this person needs that skill. So here, let's make a connection. I think those people who play that role, like you're playing, are very important. So thanks for doing what you're doing.
Hooray.
Hooray for you.
So what about your second summit that you want to take to the one you're about to do this year?
Yep. I think the big difference there, I'm not sure. It's the biggest learning is probably about the like free versus paid plan there. My takeaway from it last year was kind of like, I'm not sure that I haven't found the right solution yet. The notes I wrote down were kind of like, I'm not sure I really want to push the paid plan, because I want this more to be a list builder and authority builder instead of trying to treat it like a product. But that's kind of it's a difficult, I haven't quite found the solution yet, because I also know that people sign up for free things all the time and then never show up to them because there's no investment. So I'm open to input there. If you have figured that out, I'd certainly love to know what's the magic solution.
I don't know, but I want to ask you some questions about that.
Okay.
So maybe we can get to it.
Yeah.
So I know you said that you pivoted and you're gonna focus on a little more of the life coaching. Mm-hmm. Will the last two summits you've done have any benefit to your new audience?
Not really. No, I'm really trying to fully exit that arena and do something completely different. So
okay.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna say, if you sign up for this free one, you get access to the last two for this price.
Yes. I think that would, in the future, right after I run a few this way, definitely.
Okay.
Do that. Yeah.
So a strategy that I've heard of was that you say it's free for 24 hours mm-hmm. and then it's paid. See, I've heard of an early bird special. It's like, if you believe in me, like I believe that this is going to help you, go ahead and pay this price and get access for 3, 6, 12 months.
Yeah.
Or you show up for the free version for 24 hours. Or let's see, there's one that says it's free. You click on it and it's like, congratulations for getting the free entrance to this summit. If you want access to the speakers' opt-in pages, they're probably not called opt-in pages for regular people, but lead magnets, whatever. Speakers' special gifts. If you want access to speaker special gifts, you have to upgrade.
I gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So those are some things that I had tried. Certainly, the first year was the 24-hour access, and then the second year I had sort of about half the content was free, and then there was another half that was like even more valuable. I thought that was going to be like live Q&As and that kind of stuff. Yeah, and that was behind the paywall. So I think those are all great ideas, and it's a great way to do it. I think probably for me the biggest problem was that even though I didn't know it yet, that niche was already starting to not be in alignment with me. And so I really believe that like when you are not necessarily doing what is in alignment for you, you're kind of like putting that out there. You're sort of like, all right, hey, come to this thing, it's going to be great. And when you say it with that tone and that look on your face, people are like, yeah, sure. I really am interested in this really valuable thing you're doing. So got to be able to say it confidently with a smile on your face and genuinely wanting to invite people inside. Otherwise, they're going to see right through it.
Yeah. I think people can sense fear and confidence. Think self-discipline looks really nice on people, and it's very noticeable.
Yes.
So,
yes, for sure.
so with your next summit, will you have sponsors?
I don't know. I'm just brainstorming it today as we're talking about it. I'm starting to get ideas of what I'd want to do, and I'm not sure. I kind of, for right now, I just like the idea of people I respect coming together to share some valuable help and knowledge and actionable steps. Yeah.
I was thinking if you had sponsors, maybe it'll be okay if it was free. And maybe it would be okay if it was free for longer than 24 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because maybe your sponsors would like to build their list also.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, this is good. Wow. I didn't expect, I thought, I'm like, I'll just share what I know. And I'm like, oh, now I'm thinking, what can I do?
I love summit strategies, and I love talking to people about it. I mean, you've given me great information also. Like the Google Doc, I wasn't using it, gonna use it now.
Yeah.
So before you told me this, I've just been using folders on my home screen, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like, the more I can streamline the process, the easier it gets, and the happier everybody is. And that's just the goal. Yeah.
So you want to use your summit as a list builder? Have you done any other list building strategies?
Different opt-ins on my website, freebies and stuff, and some advertising, Facebook ads and Google ads with mixed results. But yeah, and social media, just showing up on social media, always kind of trying to figure out, what does today look like here? I am not a social media strategist by any means. I do enjoy it, but sometimes I enjoy it. Sometimes it's a chore.
I just ask my phone what to look for, and then it tells me, and I'll look for that. Like I saw Will Curran of Endless Events talk to Rob from Hey Summit, and for a long time, I was always searching for sponsorship activations. And he says, don't look for sponsorship activation. Ask your phone for top 10 marketing strategies. So I did it, and it gave it to me. And now I have 10 marketing strategies. I was like, yay.
Just gonna write that down. Top 10, like some things that sound like, oh yeah, kind of like, oh yeah, duh, of course I should look for that. But why?
My mind was blown.
Oh,
those two are great guys. So
I've been really impressed with Hey Summit, just the people in general. When I first started, it was a brand new platform, and so there were still some little tech things getting figured out, and they were always so responsive, even though in terms of the time zone, they really shouldn't have been responsive, because I'm like, I'm pretty sure you should be asleep right now. But there was always somebody responding, and the people I've interacted with their support and stuff, they've been great. Really
so since you got in early, did you attend their boot camp?
I did not.
Oh.
No. Mm-mm.
I did. It was great. It was for 6 weeks, and it was twice a week. It was a Tuesday, was a pre-recorded video on how to, and they had a Coda doc for resources. And I think it was a Thursday or a Friday, we had live sessions with Lizzie, and who was hosting the course. And she had guests on to talk more about that subject that she had the pre-recorded video on. I thought it was
Nice.
great.
Yeah, Lizzie is who I've chatted with the most, and I really appreciate her. She's been great. Yeah, that sounds great. I got my access to Hey Summit and was like, all right, this is good because I'm running this event in like 6 weeks. So I don't recommend that. I don't recommend being like, oh, cool, I found my platform that I'm going to build it on, and now I'm going to build this thing today. I don't recommend that. Take your time.
It's funny. 6 weeks is what's widely recommended. Um,
Okay,
I have talked
I
to.
might have been exaggerating a little bit. It might have been more like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Maybe. If I'm being totally honest, it may have been like, yeah, less than a month.
It's like I don't know why procrastination is very attracted to me. It knows where I am and it likes to hang out with me.
Yeah,
So I
good for
I
him.
like to give myself deadlines because I know about procrastination. And
Yeah,
if I give myself a short deadline, I can get things done.
yeah,
And sometimes with my graphics, it has to be nice
yeah,
because I figure if I notice bad graphics, somebody else is going to call me out on it. And I can't
yeah,
have that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I get hung up on little things like that.
Yes. Yeah, I think I tend to think like, they say that the work expands to fill the time that you have for it. So if you're saying like, all right, I've got 3 weeks to get this done, you'll get it done in 3 weeks. And if you say I've got 3 hours to get it done, you'll get it done in 3 hours. And I think that was sort of my thought going into the summit was like, well, people say you need 6 weeks or whatever because they are not motivated like I'm motivated by this deadline. So, and again, like I could do all of the pieces I needed to do in that amount of time, but I couldn't count on every single person I emailed immediately responding within seconds, So I think that is where, yeah, pacing myself a little bit, making that first initial pitch and then not immediately responding with, okay, where's your talk? Do you have it yet? And they're like, I told you 5 minutes ago that I will speak. No, I don't have it done yet. Settle down a little bit. So, yeah, that's probably where that slightly longer time frame benefits
I,
people in relationships.
I think you do have more patience than me because I wouldn't let them do their own talk. I had to be with them to make sure they did it. And that's why I didn't give them the opportunity to write their own speaker
Yeah,
bio, but I did give them a chance to change it if they wanted to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think those are helpful things too. I know if somebody asked me to do something and then they had created a bio and stuff for me and they were, going to interview me or like walk me through it, I think I'd really appreciate that. I'd be like, okay, cool. Now I don't have to, I don't know, think about how to describe myself or something, or just copy and paste my own bio, but whatever. Yeah, I think that's helpful.
I now hearing you say it, I think that's really nice. And I think I myself would appreciate that. And I'm wondering about how I do things now. Maybe it is a little rush. Like maybe you would have liked to write your own bio for this Facebook Live, but I'm not sure
It's
because I didn't ask.
no, trust me, I'm very happy with how this is all going. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll show up and we have a conversation and a nice conversation at that. So no, it's great.
I like conversations.
Me too. Me too. That's like
Okay.
ideas start flowing, when you start talking about stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I
different than
like
talking
about
to
it.
myself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you got in on Hey Summit early. Does that mean
Yeah,
you're a fan of AppSumo?
it does.
I
I'm a
love
big fan.
AppSumo. And
Yeah.
it is the very shiniest of all shiny objects for me.
Me too. I haven't let myself look at that website in months, which is good because when I first discovered it, it was sort of like, oh, I need that. Oh, wow, I need that too, And there are a number of tools that I've gotten from AppSumo that I use consistently, and they're great. And there are some that I have forgotten that I bought because I used them for a day or a week and was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess this works. But yeah, some great like social media scheduling tools and yeah.
My favorite Promo Republic is back.
Oh, I think I have that one. I'm like, oh, I'm not using it. Why am I not using it? Because I have too many
Yeah.
tools. But yeah.
I did stop using it because I read somewhere that social platforms like native posting. So
Yeah.
I stopped pre-scheduling. And I was like, but I really like Promo Republic.
Yeah, I like what the two that I use the most, Missing Letter, which is also created by the Hey Summit people. I love that. That's so great for blogs because you just goes and it creates a year's worth of content for you. And yeah, it's
It's
great.
also good for summit repurposing. So let's say you take those 2 summits you had
Yeah.
and you get the transcript, go ahead and make some ebooks, some checklists, some blog posts, get a Missing Letter to put that out on social, stuff like that. I love Missing Letter too.
I mean, you are speaking my language with the repurposing thing, because whenever I'm like, yeah, if I say something or I write something and not that many people see it, it's like, I'm not going to come up with something new. You know, that was good. More people need to see it. So I got to
Yeah.
put it out there. Yeah. So I like that one a lot. And I use Social Bee as well, which is good for, I mean, yes, I know that content will get more views if it's, published within the platform.
Mhm.
But I also know I'm not going to take the time to do that. I'm not going to manually go into Facebook and post. I'm like, if I go into Facebook, I'm going to get distracted by something, by a shiny object. So no, I will just schedule it someplace else, stay off the page, come back and check in on it, and comment and stuff. But
Facebook has its own scheduler.
I know, but Facebook is dangerous. It's just like, it just wants you to come and waste your time. It's just asking for that. And I'm like,
we need to sell ads. Pay attention to us.
Exactly. I'm like, I want my ads to do well when I run them, but I don't want to look at everyone else's ads. I don't know if that really works that way, but yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah.
Let's see. So, Hey Summit, AppSumo. Yeah, it has a lot of my favorite things there. Book Like a Boss. I love Book Like a Boss. If I was patient, I really feel like Book Like a Boss was the only thing I ever need because I can run events on that. Like you need something plain and simple. You set up an event page for your landing page. It connects to Zoom. It takes tickets. It sets up with Stripe and PayPal and some other ones I don't remember.
Yeah, it does it all.
You can add Facebook posts to it, stuff like that. So yeah, love Book Like a Boss.
I didn't even realize that has a lot of functions.
Yeah. Did you get that like 2 years ago?
No, I have not. Book Like a Boss. I haven't. I think I missed that one.
Oh.
But yeah, I know. I'm like, sounds great. I mean, I honestly just feel like the fact that I found Hey Summit on there was like the best thing that could have happened, because paying for that tool month after month after month, it'd be worth it for sure. But getting in on the ground floor and paying one time is, that's my favorite way to buy any kind of software.
And they don't mind that they didn't mind that I wanted to hang out with them, and they shared like mass amounts of information about summits with me. Yeah. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's really wonderful.
See, what is your favorite repurposing of your summits?
That is a good question, because it'll be new now with a new summit. It'll be different. I didn't really repurpose the old ones. Okay. Again, probably a clue that something was out of alignment somewhere there. I think I used, with the first one, I used a couple of the sessions. There was one with me and there was one where I interviewed my husband, and I used those as podcast episodes, and those were good. But yeah, I didn't repurpose anything last year. I think because when it ended, it's like the summit ended, and then coronavirus came on our radar like the next week or something. And so I was like, what is anything? What am I going to do? Well, okay, I don't know. What am I doing? I'm just going to go hibernate for a month and then try and figure out my life again. So yeah, but I like the things that you're talking about with ebooks and stuff like that. I think there'd be a lot of potential for opt-ins and blog posts and podcasts and all kinds of stuff.
Well, you really got my attention with your streamlining process. So if you ever come up with a checklist for that, get back at me because I want it.
Okay, I will. Yeah, whenever I'm going down my summit path again, I'll let you know and I'll
Yeah.
pass it on. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's all I have for now, but you've given me and shared with all the rest of us great information, and I appreciate that. Thank you
I'm
for
glad it
being
was
generous.
helpful. Of course. Thanks for asking me to be here. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed your questions. They're really thoughtful and just getting to bounce ideas around. I've got my little post-it note here with like some things now that I need to keep on my radar. So thank you.
All right. Well, see you around, Casey.
Yes. See you around, Erica.
Okay. Bye.